Like, there's a big difference between this Shia.
And I really care at this point. I mean, I'm drunk enough to really care. And I go outside and have a cigarette, and there's this homeless man out there. He starts running down the road after like 30 minutes of conversation. So I start running after him. This dude who comes up, and I don't know this guy, but he comes up to me, he says, hey, Shia, hey, man. Hey, what are you doing tonight? And I was like, well, I'm looking to turn it up a bit, you know? Why don't you come to my show? You know, I'm a dancer in this cabaret show. And I said, cabaret? Yeah, cabaret. I'm really good and drunk at this point. So I get another double whiskey, and I sit in my seat, and there's these two beautiful 50-year-old women. Oh, yeah, well, tonight's the night, ladies. What's it gonna be? What do you want to drink? And they look at me like, don't talk to me. I take it as a sign that they want exactly what I'm drinking, and they don't want nothing to do with it. And I say, well, all right, well, you're not gonna have them, so I'll have them. And out comes Alan Tudyk, or Alan Cumming.
Right, Alan Cumming.
Alan Cumming. It could have been Alan Iverson at this point. It looks like he's winking at me. And he walks past me, and I give him a slap on the ass because I think he deserves it. You know, and I don't just slap, but I slapped and grabbed him. Anyway, so they wind up taking me to the station. So I figure, you know, I'm gonna spit on this cop's shoe. That's my way out. So I spit on his shoe, and I'm looking at him.
And this Shia.
Well, I'm sorry. I'm sure we can CGI it all. Fix it. And you wrote this movie while in court-ordered rehab.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Is it true that you now keep in touch with the police officer who arrested you?
Officer Bryant. He invited me to go fishing yesterday.
He invited you to fish yesterday?
Yes.
Get away from me!
Hello everyone, my name is Drew and welcome to Social Distance Cinema Discussion. This week we watched Honeyboy, recommended to us by yours truly. I had trouble figuring out what I wanted to say about this movie because I watched hours worth of interviews with the director and the actors, and a lot of it all seems self-explanatory in a way. Of course, Danielle was correct when she brought up the fact that this movie is somewhat autobiographical of Shia LaBeouf's life. In the mid to late 2000s, the fame of Transformers and other big budget pictures was getting to Shia LaBeouf's head, and he found himself terrorizing a police officer, for lack of a better term.
Listen, can we talk, me and you?
No, we can't talk nothing.
Listen, I'm not the
American.
Okay.
I pay my taxes. Get these off my arms.
So we're not gonna have a conversation?
No, you gonna put these off my arms, or you be. I came up to you asking for a cigarette, you dumb. Why would I ask for a cigarette if I was racist? You stupid.
The judge offered him 7 years in a county prison or a mental institution, to which, of course, he took the mental institution. It was there he underwent exposure therapy. Exposure therapy is when you expose yourself to traumatic experiences or something that you're afraid of to the point where it just becomes normal to you. So what they did was have him record himself talk about these experiences to the point where they just didn't hurt him anymore. It was there that the script for Honeyboy was born. So one interesting thing I guess I could get into here is the life on set and during production of this film. Originally, Shia had no intention of remaining an actor after he went to rehab, and he just wrote this as sort of therapy for himself.
Well, yeah, before I wasn't planning on making a movie. I was, before I thought the actor thing was over. I never initially wanted to act in it. I thought that was over for me fully. You know, I was gonna go join the National Guard or the Peace Corps or something like that, send her the script and dip off. That was really my intention. And that's how I presented it to her, and then she was like, I'm only interested in this if you're gonna play your father. And I hadn't really thought that way.
Generally, when outbursts like Shia's occur, the industry tries to shy away from that person as best as possible, and Shia thought his career was pretty much over. Somehow in this fake industry, there are more than a few real ones that still kept in touch with him. This is where the director Alma Hallel comes in. The first thing you need to know about Shia LaBeouf is that he is somewhat of a weirdo socialite. Not in a bad way by any means, but in a way that's very unconventional, at least coming from my point of view.
Shia reached out to me in 2012 after my first documentary, Bombay Beach, came out. It was at Amoeba Records, and somebody that worked there put it in the wrong section because it had music by Bob Dylan, and they put it in the DVD Bob Dylan section, and he was kind of looking for a Bob Dylan, DVD, and ended up picking up my film.
From there, he looked her up, reached out to her, and they had dinner together, and the connection just stayed intact for years afterward. I mean, that's kinda odd, right? That's not just me. So anyway, during rehab, Alma was one of the people that was constantly reaching out to Shia to ensure that he was okay. For whatever reason, Shia then felt comfortable enough with her to share the script with her, and then everything started coming together. One thing that everyone should realize is how important making the decision to have someone be your director really is. Every director has their own style, and Shia has worked with some of the best, including Michael Bay and Steven Spielberg. Alma's experience mostly lays in documentaries and commercials, and in fact, Honeyboy is the first feature film that she's ever made. Generally speaking, shooting documentaries is a bit different than shooting feature films, especially big-budget feature films. On a film set, there's very rigid schedules and very clear-cut things that you need to complete on a given day. But for documentarians, that's not something you can do. You don't have the luxury of starting and stopping whenever you complete a take. You have to capture life as it happens.
Life has to come into the set. There's people that I think like go to a set, they have a plan of things they need to film, and if they ticked every box and they filmed everything, they feel happy. I feel very disappointed if that's what I do. I want to film the things I didn't plan.
Alma took this approach and brought it into Honeyboy. Even though it's a bit unorthodox to bring into a feature film, it's massively beneficial to the actors who sometimes just bring stuff out of them that they have no idea is coming. Alma allowed Shia and Noah to play jazz with each other, which is another way of saying improving how they feel when they're saying the lines. The other thing that made Alma such a great choice for this movie is the fact that she is a woman. Women in general tend to score higher on pro-social behavior assessments and are more nurturing and empathetic. The amount of research I just did to make sure that that sentence was scientifically accurate was a bit much, but totally worth it because it's my responsibility to check my own biases. So if you're interested in that article, you can find it below. Alma created an environment on set that was more like a safe space for everyone involved.
They created a safe space. And by that, I mean everybody from the actors all the way to craft services to the security guard who was like helping us park felt comfortable enough and vulnerable enough during this job to even when you would watch a scene in the village, like everybody got teary-eyed and emotional.
She made it a point to get crew members from Shia's early career, including people from Even Stevens, Holes, and even the Transformers movies. Much of this stuff was going on during Shia's time in these productions, so it was good to get everyone together as the crews of those movies were kind of like second families to Shia.
It was just a combination of like the material attracting certain people that worked with him and wanted to be part of it, and then me really embracing that and kind of enjoying surprising Shia with it. And like, he would come and just see those people sometimes, and there were so many hugs on set. It was just like the most huggable, I think, set in history, where people were just kind of having reunions and hugging and crying and laughing, and it was like a family, you know?
That kind of love and commitment is something I've never seen on set, and I think you'd probably be hard-pressed to find that on the set of a male director. This is such a sensitive topic, and it really needed to be addressed in this sort of manner. The primary bond in this movie is between a father and son, and for better or for worse, the relationship is extremely strained. So to bring on a male director into this, I don't think you'd ever really be able to capture the full downsides of this type of masculinity. Having this unbiased third-party perspective really kind of aids the piece. Unfortunately, whether we like it or not, our culture plays a large part in our parental roles. Succumbing to the societal norms of what a father is supposed to be and what men are supposed to be like to each other was part of the problem in this relationship in general. By and large, these days, Shia considers himself a big f***up.
I mean, if you're a full f***up like what I am, you only got a couple of guys to look towards.
Excuse me as I try to navigate these shady waters as best I can. But I think there's something worth discussing here. After his arrest and subsequent rehabilitation, Shia cites Mel Gibson as his primary role model.
I got about 70 pages in, sent it to this actor I really like, named Mel Gibson, who's always been a champion for me, and, you know, full-blown up too, but gave me hope, you know. I remember being in that facility, and it was right around Oscar time, and his bearded, beautiful ass is walking around with his chin held high at the Oscars, and I'm thinking, this fucking guy is this is a miracle that he can walk around like this, with that heavy burden, you know? It's not easy to face the world again when you're fully ashamed of yourself.
Personally, I f***ing hate Mel Gibson. I want you all to know that. But I do think maybe we should be a little bit more careful with how we view mental breakdowns within the media. Of course, it's 100% unacceptable to spout anti-Semitic and racist bullshit whenever you get drunk. Likewise, it's not the best look to verbally terrorize a police officer for doing his job. On a daily basis, we don't know these people's struggles. We can't let our moments of stupidity and weakness define who we are. Nor can we allow these events being highly publicized to delegitimize serious problems like alcoholism and abuse. What do you think about all this shit? I know if you went back through my social media, you'd probably find some really stupid and insensitive shit that I said in middle school or high school. While you're down there, consider giving me a like and subscribe. It's really helpful to me in my pursuit of, I don't know, life fulfillment or something. Keep an eye out on social media and Discord for this week's movie. Does anyone else miss the movie theater? Like, I hate just watching shit in my basement, man. I gotta get out. That's my stress relief right there. I love being antisocial and sitting in movie theaters. As always, stay safe, stay healthy, and hopefully I'll see you next week.